Shalom. Giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. It's Brother Kasha Kwala coming back at you with another lesson. This lesson is going to be titled The House of Jason. Okay? So without further ado, I'm going to jump into Acts, the 17th chapter. We're going to go back and forth between the book of Thessalonians and the book of Acts 17. Because if you're reading book Acts 17, you got to go through the book of Thessalonians. First Thessalonians, to be specific. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. But the primary thing that I want to pinpoint and extract a message out of is when it gets to the house of Jason. That's why I want to call this lesson the house of Jason. So this is Acts 17 and 1. It says, now when they had passed through Amphipolis, if I'm saying that correct, and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews. Okay, there was a synagogue of the Jews. So that goes to show you there's some Israelites in Thessalonica. All right, so this is 1 Thessalonians 1:1. Paul and Silvanus, and just looking into Silvanus, he could have been, if I'm not mistaken, it may have been Silvanus, but it may have been Jason. Jason may have been a cousin when you look into him of Paul. Matter of fact, let me see real quick. Go to Romans 16 real quick. Romans 16 and 21. It says, Timotheus, my work fellow, and Lucius. You read a lot about Lucius as well. Towards some of the epistles that Paul does, he usually does like a shout out on like the last, chapter. You could read it. You could see it in Colossians. You could see it in Philippians. He does like a shout out, pretty much. You know how Jake do. Oh, I want to shout out, and I want to shout out him. That's what he does here. Usually, in the beginning of his epistles, especially like when you read Thessalonians, and a few other epistles, he'll give a sincere greeting in the first chapter, and towards the last chapter, he'll do a shout out of individuals, and these individuals you should look up and just get acquainted with them. And it says in Jason. All right, so let's get Jason real quick. When you click on him, it says may have been a cousin of Paul. So Jason in Greek is Eason. Let me see what Esau says.
Strong's G 2394. Yason.
Yason, and it means one who will heal. That's a heavy name. It says a Thessalonians who entertained Paul and Silas, because Paul and Silas pretty much linked up with each other. You could read about when they joined in the chapter prior to Acts 17. So Acts 16 is when they kind of linked up or whatnot. And we're gonna get a little bit into Acts 16 too, because they went into Philippi, Silas and Paul, which henceforth you get the book of Philippians. Okay, but they went into a city of Philippi, and they were persecuted in that city as well. They were going to preach the name of the Lord. All right, and people were. Well, we're gonna read it in Acts 17, but it says Jason may have been a cousin to Paul, or a cousin of Paul. All right, in this truth, there's Akim and different perspective camps who have immediate family who are in the truth with them. Maybe a brother, maybe a cousin, whatnot. But this could have been that case with Jason. So Jason has a significant. Anyone really written in the scripts, that has their name in it, had a significance, even if they're mentioned once or twice. Just like, hey, there's a prophet named Gad in the scripts. He was mentioned like one time, so there's different, but it was meant for him to be mentioned in the scripts. We'll get the full basis of it when we get to the kingdom. But going ahead, that's Jason, okay? So going back to 1 Thessalonians 1:1, it says, Silvanus and Timotheus unto the church of the Thessalonians, which is in the Most High the Father, and in the Lord, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, grace be unto you and peace from the Most High Father, our Father, and the Lord, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Now that's pretty much Paul saying, hey, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem HaKadosh Barakathum. To you Thessalonians, it was kind of like if I sent an epistle to the church of Tampa or the church of Chicago. If I wrote a letter to him, I'd be like, hey, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem HaKadosh Barakathum to you brothers. That's what Paul is doing here, okay? So let's go back. So we know that there's some Israelites in Thessalonica, according to 1 Thessalonians 1:1. All right, so going on to Acts 17:2, it says, and Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the scripts. Okay, not just 3 days, 3 Sabbath days. So 3 Sabbath days come in the length of 3 weeks. Okay, so literally reasoning them with them in the scripts. Okay, reasoning with them. Okay, let's go to 1 Thessalonians real quick. Let's go to chapter 2. All right, so 1 Thessalonians 2:1. For yourselves, brethren, know our entrance in unto you, that it was not in vain. Exactly. All right, verse 2. But even after that we had suffered before and were shamefully entreated. Okay, now you got to understand how, certain little things that Paul speaks, who he was with, where he was at, and what he is talking about. Okay, so it says, but even after he's speaking in plural terms. Okay, he's speaking in past tense. Suffered before, meaning they've already went through this. And who is the we? It was him. He was speaking on the behalf of himself and Silas. Okay, when he says we. So let's go to Acts 16 real quick. We're going to go to verse 19. I'm just going to get to the point. Well, actually, Acts, I want to go to 16, but I want to prove to you that they were in Philippi when he said that. Okay, so they said, 1 Thessalonians 2:2, but even after that we have suffered before and were shamefully entreated, all right, as ye know, at Philippi. Okay, who? Him and Silas. So we know what? Him and Silas joined together in Acts 6, the 16th chapter, and came to where? Philippi. Acts 16:12. And from thence to Philippi, okay, which is the chief city of that part of Macedonia. So Philippi was a namely city, like a big city in a colony, all right? And we were in that city abiding certain days, right? So let's jump down to verse 19. And when her master saw that the hope of their gains were gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers. Okay, they drew them unto them, and when they got sent to the rulers, what happened? They were beaten and thrown in jail. That's exactly what happened to them when you read the rest of Acts 16. They were beaten and thrown into jail. So that's what Paul is mentioning here in 1 Thessalonians 2:2. That we suffered for these things. We went through, we were shamefully entreated. In verse 1, he says, now our entrance unto you, that it was not vain. Know our entrance into entrance, meaning our greetings and our salutations pretty much to you when we came to Thessalonians, it was not in vain. All right? Because the same things that they went through in Philippi is the same things that they went through in Thessalonica. Okay? We're going to wrap it all, in full circle. It says, we were bold in our speak. Salaki, we were bold in the Most High to speak unto you the gospel of the Most High with much contention. Exactly. It was hard for them to preach the word because they had so many enemies, and it was in their own blood, meaning Israelites. Israelites had issues with Paul and Silas preaching Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And that's what the main message I want to extract out of what I'm reading today, because yeah, we see the coronavirus, all these things happening, but things are not going to go back to normal. And we have yet to experience our own people talking shit on us and actually laying their hands on us, which is going to happen. It's going to happen. We got to go through the same things as the scripts. The scriptures say there's no new thing under the sun. So we got to understand what Paul is saying to the Thessalonians and what is written in the book of Acts. Okay? We have to understand these things. Okay? So back to Acts chapter 17 and verse 2. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them and reasoned in 3 Sabbath days, reasoned with them out of the scriptures. Correct. He reasoned with them out of the scriptures. Paul was known for reasoning and trying to get people to understand that what Yahushai was the son that was sent to, save Israel. Okay, he's the king. Acts 9 and 20. It says, in straight way, he preached Hamashiach in the synagogues, that he is the son of the Most High. You see that? So that's what Paul did. He straightway went into the synagogues of the Jews, okay, which were the Thessalonians, to do what? What he did in Acts 9 and 20. And straightway preached Yahushai Hamashiach to those individuals and reasoned with them for three Sabbath days, man. Okay? But hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That means the Thessalonians were what? They're very intuitive, very inquisitive. They wanted to know, why are you preaching this? I need to understand. You see? So he reasoned with them. Boom, boom. Probably bringing out scripts, letting them know what the dealio was. Okay, so verse 3, opening in alleging that Hamashiach must needs have suffered. Exactly. He had to suffer. Okay. Yahushua had to go through his sufferings in order to bring the light unto us so we can comprehend that he is the Son of the Most High, man. Let's go back to 1 Thessalonians 5 and 21 real quick. It says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Exactly. And that's exactly what Paul was doing. That's why he wrote that to the Thessalonians in this epistle. He says, prove all things. There's no other reason why he was there for 3 Sabbath days. He was proving all things and holding fast to which is good. And what is good? The gospel of Yahushai. The gospel means the good news, which he was proclaiming and preaching to the Thessalonians at the time. Okay? So it says, verse 3 again, opening and alleging that Hamashiach must needs have suffered and risen again from the dead. And risen again from the dead, and that this Yahushai, whom I preach unto you, is Hamashiach. He is, okay? He is the Lord and Savior, okay? Now, how do you know how he's the Lord and Savior? Well, let's get it, okay? Let's go to Luke 24 and let's see, 24. Let's go to 26. Let's start at 25. Luke 24 and 25. It says, then said he unto them, O fools and slow of heart. Oh my gosh. Okay, it says, O fools and slow of heart, meaning like, and you dummies, all right? Slow of heart, meaning you got a slow mind. You slow, man. It's like to believe all the prophets have spoken. Verse 26, ought not Hamashiach to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? Exactly. That's what he was speaking about. Well, what? He said that Yahweh Shai had must suffered. Okay? And of course, he probably brought these writings out to the Thessalonians. Yahweh Shai had to suffer in order to, fulfill the mission. All right, verse 46, and he said unto them, thus it is written, and thus it behooved Hamashiach to suffer. Right? Yahweh Shai, even though he went to the Garden of Gethsemane, knew what he had to do, and it would behoove him to finish out that mission. Okay? And it would behoove Yahweh Shai to listen unto the Most High Yahweh to do what he had to do. All right? It says, and rise from the dead the third day. Exactly. That's what he was preaching to the Thessalonians. Okay? Let's see here. Acts 18 and 28, for he mightily convinced the Jews, and that publicly, showing by the scriptures that Yahweh Shai was Hamashiach. Exactly. Okay? So he had to prove to him that Yahweh Shai was the Lord and Savior. Okay? So verse 4, and we're going to get to the house of Jason real quick. All right? And some of them believed. Now, focus on that. Some of them believe, just like you're going to have some who believe in the doctrine that we're preaching today. Okay? Just some. All right? That some is the 1/3. Okay? That some is the 1/3. All right? And some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas. Let's get that word consorted real quick. All right, bear with me. All right, consorted, prosklarao, and it means what? To add or assign by lot, okay? It says to give a common to lot to. It says to associate with, exactly. So they consorted with him. They associated their spirit with Paul, okay? I want to get something because that word associated made me think of a script in the book of Philippians. Okay, one moment. I think it's Philippians 2. Okay, yeah, Philippians 2:1. If there be therefore any consolation in Hamashiach, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, the word I want to focus on is this word fellowship, because that means an association with. Okay, let's get that real quick. All right, yes, here at GMS. We go through the scripts and we break it down thoroughly so people can understand. That word there is koinonia in the Greek. And it means a fellowship or association. Okay? So association, they fellowshipped at the end of the day when you want to bring it to light. They fellowshipped with Paul those some who believed. They associated themselves with Paul. Okay? They consorted with Paul. All right, and Silas, because Silas was there preaching too. It says, and the devout Greeks a great multitude, and of the chief women not a few. All right, so let's get into it. All right, this is why I want to harp on the house of Jason, because what? We have not experienced our own people who we tell are the princes of the power, and that the world is for them, according to 2nd Esdras. That 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter, that the world was made for them. They still going to come and lay hands on us because they're so indulged and they love their daddy. And who's their daddy? The devil, okay? Which is the so-called white man. And there's plenty of Jake out here who want things to go back to normal. Fuck normal, man. Fuck normalcy, okay? And it's matter of fact, I take that back. Yes, I want things to go back to normal. The norm is how it was designated in the scripts from the foundation of the earth. This is abnormal how we're living right now. You fucking right. I want things to go back to normal because I'm about tired of this. Okay. But they want the society of this abnormal society to go back to its abnormal normalcy. Yes. Think about that one time. Okay. Because they're so used to being in this place. That's why they want things to go back to the same. Well, fuck the same. All right, it's time for a change. It's time for that hill to be dragged down and someone else to come in the power seat. And those are the Israelites. And they hate us for telling them that. For what? I don't know. Actually, we do. The Lord has blinded their eyes. Isaiah 29 and 9 and verse 10. He blinded them. Okay? So they don't know anything but this. They don't know anything but this. And I'm going to go to John chapter 8, verse 44. All right? This is John 8 and 44. Ye are of the father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And that clearly describes Esau, and that clearly describes you 2/3 niggas who follow after him. That's why you're going to get mad, and that's why Acts 17 is going to come to pass again, okay? And us brothers got to be ready for it, all right? There was righteous men in the house of Jason, man, all right? And we got to gird our loins. Some of us may have to experience the house of Jason, so let's get into it. Acts 17 and 5, but the Jews which believed not, moved with envy, took unto them the certain lewd fellows of the bastard sort. See what I'm saying? These are the John 8 and 44 individuals. Okay? They hated hearing that Yahushua is king, that Yahushua is the Hamashiach. Okay? The anointed one. That's what Hamashiach means, the anointed. Okay? They hated hearing that. They wanted Caesar to be it. They wanted to live in that society because they were comfortable with it, and they didn't know anything else because they didn't know Yahushua. And they didn't want to know Yahushua. They hated Yahushua. Okay? It says, and gathered a company. Okay? Gathered a company. A company, when you go into military terms, is like a band of a military unit. Okay? So pretty much gathering a company, they're probably civilians. It's like a militia or a fucking riot, a flash mob, okay? And set all the city on an uproar. Exactly, a flash mob. Just shit was calm just a second ago, and now everybody's fucking crazy and wild, okay? It says, and assaulted the house of Jason. Exactly, assaulted, meaning they laid their hands on the house of Jason. Okay, and we went into Jason in Romans, the 16th chapter, the 21st verse. He was maybe a cousin of Paul. He was one of the ones who were being preached to in the Thessalonia, okay, and believed, okay. Why did they come to the house of Jason? Let's keep reading. And sought to bring them out to the people. Exactly, them out to the people. More than likely, they were having this discourse from verses 1 through 4 in the house, in Jason's house, for those 3 Sabbath days, okay, preaching these things. And of course, the ones who did not believe heard these things too, and probably word went out, okay. It says verse 6, and when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, okay. And who were they trying to seek? Paul and Silas. They are the ones who came into Thessalonica preaching the name Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, okay. They drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, these, all right, these that have turned the world upside down and are come hither. Exactly. That's Jake today, man. They don't want this society to go away. They want this to continue. They want the malls to be open. They want to freak off every time. They want to lust after another man's wife. Okay? They want to commit adultery. They want to murder their brothers. Okay? Their own flesh and blood. Families want to turn against them. Wives want to turn against husbands. Husbands want to turn against wives. All of that. They like this. That's what is normal to them. Their abnormal way of life is what is normal to them. And they want to go back to that. Okay? So when there's men who stand up for righteousness, which there is a script for that. All right? Men who stand up for righteousness, they want to afflict because they do not want this place to go to waste. Okay? But this place needs to go to waste. And that's why we're out here telling the people that this place is Haggai 1 and 4. You dwell in your sealed houses when this one lie waste. You see? They think that we're trying to turn their world upside down. We're trying to turn the world right side up. This place is backwards. The scriptures talk about woe unto him that decree unrighteous decrees. That's Isaiah 10. Okay. Also, it talks about in the scripts, woe unto him that say good, evil is good and good is evil. Okay. I think that's in Isaiah as well. Okay. And that's exactly what's going on in this place. They think the evil that they're used to is good, and we're preaching that their evil is bad, and they think we're turning the world upside down. Okay, that's the house of Jason. Verse 17. Salakia, verse 7. Whom Jason have received, and these all do contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying that there is another king. One is Yahushai, right? They're preaching that Yahushai is king. All right. Verse 8. And they troubled the people and the rulers of the city. And they heard these things And when they had taken security of Jason and of the other, they let them go. Okay. You see? But what? People are going to come against us. People are going to talk their shit against us. People are going to lay their hands on us. It's all according to the scripts. All right? It's all according to the scripts. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. It literally says that. Okay? It literally says that the ones who fear the Lord, they're going to come. They're going to come. This is going to be our moment of being tried. Okay? Verse 70. 2nd Ezra 16 and 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Exactly. Okay, we always bring this to light, like Esau going to come down and, do these. Yes, he's right. But guess who else is going to be right there along with them? Them 2/3 motherfuckers. Because they are of their father, the devil. Okay, let's go to Galatians, the 2nd chapter really quick. Okay, because what? They're heathens too. They are heathens too. This is Galatians chapter 2 and 6. It says, but of these whom seemed to be somewhat, whatsoever they were, it maketh no matter to me. The Most High accepteth no man's persons. See how Paul, it says, for they who seemed to be somewhat in conference added nothing to me. Verse 7, but contrariwise, when they saw the gospel of the uncircumcision, that's okay, that's one name, okay, for the ones who don't know, they're Israelites, the uncircumcision, all right, was committed unto me, who? Paul had the uncircumcision. That's why when you go into the book of Acts, and you go and what? You read about all the places that Paul went, okay? And I think in the book of Galatians, Paul was getting on Peter, the head disciple, okay? And Paul got on Peter, man, okay? So it says, and when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Peter, right? So Peter preached to the ones who were Israelites. Peter had a tough job just as much as Paul did. Paul had to go and preach and convince people who didn't know Yahushua and didn't know these things, right? Peter had to teach the people who think they know something already. Hard heads. They're both hard lots, okay? But uncircumcision is one name, all right? Verse 8. For he that wrought effectually in Peter to the apostleship of the circumcision, meaning Peter wanted to do that. He was adamant about it. That same was mighty in me toward the Gentiles. That's another name for these 2/3. You got the uncircumcision and then the Gentiles, okay? And Paul was adamant about going to preach to the ones who don't know, okay? That's how you know they love their occupation. They love their jobs. Verse 9, it says, and when James, Cephas, and John, who seemed to be pillars, perceived the grace that was given unto me, they gave to me Barnabas. All right, so they gave Barnabas to go with Paul. Of course, we know Barnabas and Paul had a little disagreement in Acts, the 15th chapter, and they split ways, but that's okay. Okay? the right hands of fellowship. So they made Barnabas what? Associated with Paul to go on to this ministry across Asia Minor, which is like a whole bunch of Galatia, Pontus, all these other things you can read about. It says that we should go unto the heathen. All right. So yes, when you the heathen, yes, you can call a 2/3 nigga a heathen and bring Galatians 2:9 out and John 8:44 and read 2nd Ezra 16:70 and apply them to the ones who are going to come against us, who are going to come against the house of Jason. All right. 2/3 niggas, these heathens are going to come along with Esau because we're preaching a doctrine. We're preaching a doctrine that they don't like because they don't want their norm to be intercepted pretty much. Okay? So verse 70 again, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, right? They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. You see that? And cast them out of their houses. What did they do to Jason in Acts the 17th chapter? They assaulted the house of Jason and sought to bring the people out. Verse 6, Acts 17:6. And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brothers unto the rulers of the city. So they drug him out the house. They drug him out the house. The house of Jason experienced 2nd Ezra 16:72. Cast them out of their houses. So this is something that we're going to have to ponder on and we're going to have to digest and come to terms with and come to grips with. We have not got, I'll say this, some camps have been assaulted while, preaching the word, but not to this extent where they're actually coming to your house and dragging you out because they want you to go up into in front of the governors and princes to be judged for preaching this place in its downfall. But they're just doing us a favor. They're dragging us unto the ones who we need to tell their judgment to. There's going to be some men in under the correct doctrine who are sincere that get drugged all the way up to the elites. Some of us going to get drugged to the Supreme Court, to the president. And then, top brothers who have heavy spirits are going to get drugged straight to the elite and give their judgment. Some brothers may be drugged to the governor of their states to give their judgment. There's levels to it. All right. So we got to think about these things. The house of Jason. Think about the house of Jason, man. And pray to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that you endure and you're protected through it. But these niggas, 2/3, and these heathens, which are niggas, 2/3, but I'm speaking of the heathens of the other nations, they're going to come against us, man. Because we're preaching something that is abnormal to them, but normal to us. All right. So Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. It's Brother Kasha Kwala. Until the next time, I want to say shalom.